Hey there to anyone who's listening to this. My name is Judd. If you've seen me on Jolly Brothers, that is my joint account with my brother. Um, I'm starting this here because I have been wanting to get into this for a very long time. Um, I have been getting heated um, for the way things are, especially in this world. Um, I started to notice it quite a bit before COVID. And then once COVID came, it all became even more clear. And I don't think that's just me. I obviously think that is all the other people that kind of woke up from this sort of dream we were in, you know. Um, it obviously wasn't perfect, but it was almost like this sense of us being together after 9/11 and us going and killing Osama bin Laden and, thinking that our government is actually looking out for us. When you're taught in schools, you're taught that we established America based off of wanting freedom and fighting for our freedom. And those have not stayed consistent from then to now. Now it's the government knows what you need. The government knows what needs to happen. The government is going to show you what we should be doing, the money we should be spending, your tax dollar money, what we should be spending, the wars we should be getting into, the food your kids should be eating. Um, the medical advice that they give when they're not even experts themselves. It's just infuriating from where we started until we are now. Back when my grandparents were kids, my parents, my grandparents, my great grandparents, things have changed. Things are not what they used to be. And it is slowly gotten out of hand over time. And it seems like ever since we got the internet going, it drastically got out of control. Now they have control over your phones. They have control over your computers. They can see what you've searched. They can see what you're doing. They're trying to take away your rights away. They don't want you to have guns. They don't want you to have, access to things like mental health. They want you to have to go to the doctor because of big pharma. They don't want you to have these tools in order for you to be healthy. They want you to shut up. They want you to be happy, and they want you to be able to afford nothing. And that is why BlackRock owns a majority and Vanguard of all the houses in America. That is why they own a majority of the S&P 500. That is why they own the electric company in Hawaii. That is why they own all these things. That's why they're so into the different medical that is forced upon us. They don't want us to have a choice. They don't want us to have rights. They want that to be taken away. They don't want us to have the freedom that America was once built on. They want to censor what you say. They want you to be against your friends. They want to split you by race. They want to split you by medical. They want to split you by political views. They want to split you by family. They want to split you in any way possible, any way imaginable, so that you are not a threat. They don't want you to be a threat. They don't want you to free think. They don't want you to go out of your house and see what is going on. The homelessness that they're not taking care of. Like the homelessness in every big city right now, and it's coming into smaller communities. The drug problems, where they have stated in CIA documents that they were feeding poor communities, minority communities, these drugs because they wanted to ruin the American people. They're not there to help you. They're here to divide us. We, as the American people, need to come together and we need to talk more. We need to have deep conversations. We need to talk to our neighbors. We need to talk to our family, talk to our friends, our coworkers, the people we don't agree with. We need to talk with more so that we understand each other and where we're coming from. Don't hate your neighbor. Don't hate people that don't agree with you. Talk to them because division is what they want. United we stand, divided we fall, and that is so true. It is so true. They don't want us to be happy. They don't want us to be healthy. They don't want us to be friends. They want us distracted. They want us fighting amongst each other. They want us so mentally messed up in the head that we can't even handle what's going on in this world. Where we can't even help our own veterans. We can't help the people in Hawaii. We can't help our own homelessness. We can't help the drug epidemic. We're not helping. There are people that genuinely do want to help. But for the most part of our government, they don't care. They don't want that. You know, there's a movie on Netflix and it talks about the Oxycontin issue and how they paid off the FDA and how they were making millions and billions of dollars. And all they got was a slap on the wrist. All they had to say is, we messed up. Here's a fee. Here's a fine. And you know why that is? It's not because we're just giving them a second chance because we're trying to be good people. It's because they are tied in with high profile people that are tied into the government, that are getting payouts from these companies. That's why Bill Gates has bought into different medical companies in 2019 and talked about it in 2015. That's why he was pushing it until he sold out. And then he said, oh, these don't work. That's why our doctor for the White House is pushing something that he knows doesn't work, like masks and other medical things, if you catch my drift. I'm going to be very careful for what I say because the people who run these social medias don't want people like me and don't want people like you to have access to this information and to discuss this amongst each other. Now, I'm going to kind of go into what I have seen recently, and it's been disgusting. So let's dive into Hawaii. So Vanguard owns a big chunk in the electric company in Hawaii. They were researching into green energy, and they're trying to go into green energy. And what that might be, I'm not against green energy. It's just used politically. And it's not used in the sense of we're going to help people. It's the dollar. You aren't getting electric cars because it's good for the environment. It's used by, it's created by people that are in the mines getting the cobalt and all the other chemicals in order to run that. The batteries are being shipped to China. They are being sent to the U.S. to companies like Tesla, like GM, and all these other companies. And it's used as a political stance. They use it to divide us. Oh, you don't want a Tesla? Well, you're obviously anti-environmental. No, that's not the case. Eventually we'll get there. But right now, those cars are being charged by coal. They're being charged by non-renewable resources. And we are pushing something that isn't ready. And I'm not saying to not do it, but there's electric grids that are being taken down. Electric grids in Canada, and electric grids in California, electric grids all over where they are not allowed to use their air conditionings or electricity in certain times of the day, all for the better. So I'm going to go back to where I was. The whole thing with Hawaii. they were going towards the green energy, and so they weren't taking care of their power grid. And they didn't shut off their power when hurricane winds came, and so it started a fire. That right there needs to be looked at. And then you go into it a little bit more. You see that the water had, I believe it was a 6-hour delay in order to get water to Lebanon and Maui. And then you see that they lined these vehicles up and didn't let them leave. Residents are saying this, where they're not allowed to leave. What are you doing? And when the police were asked about this, they said that was the orders we were given. And so you see all these vehicles, all these people that have died. That is so terrible. And who's responsible? The fire marshal was out of town. The mayor was out of town. And when they were asked who's in charge, if something like this happened, they couldn't give an answer. You have people going into the water breathing in smoke. And now on top of it all, they are only giving, at first I saw it was 700. I think it's up to 1,200 now. And that doesn't do anything. That's not even as much as some of the stimuluses we got. And they just sent, overall we've sent 135 billion to Ukraine, but we can't even help our own people. We can't even help the people that lost their homes in the United States. That, to me, just shows what kind of character the people who are running this country have. It's so messed up. We see it time and time again. We see it with, like I said, the homelessness. We see it with the drug addiction. We see it with the housing crisis. We see it with everything. And they play on your emotions. Well, don't you want us to help the homeless? Yes. So what they do is they take this money like they did in California. People get rich off of these programs where these programs are supposed to help the homeless people. It's not getting better. In fact, it's getting worse. So these guys are pocketing money and not helping the issue. The drug issue. You look at, people that are, cities that are hard on drugs, and then you look at Oregon it's just legalized. And they're both terrible. They're not helping. It's not reducing it. In fact, it's making it worse. It's just the time we're in. It's scary. Most people can't afford homes. Most people can't even afford groceries. Rent is outrageous right now. It's so high that families are struggling. That most families in the country don't have enough money. If a miscellaneous bill comes up, which that's how life is bills come up. We are in so much credit card debt. And we're talking about student loan debt, but what about the credit card debt? And I'm not saying we should just abolish all of it, but how about helping out the American people? We're not doing that. We're making it worse. We are reducing the dollar and how much it's worth. Imagine you saved $10,000, and let's say 10 years ago, that would have been a good down payment on a house. And you could have bought a house for $150,000, $200,000. Maybe even $100,000 depending on where you're at. Some places even lower. It's 10% on a $100,000 house. You know where you have to go to get a $100,000 house now? You have to live in the. You have to move into the middle of nowhere, where there is no opportunities, and you have to find a job within the town that's near, or become a farmer or a rancher. It's just not doable right now. I was looking into an article, and it said the median house is $480,000. In order for you to put down a down payment and to be able to have the bank approve your loan, you have to make $169,000 either by yourself or joint with your significant other. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. The average income right now is only around $38,000. So you're telling me people can afford homes? No. People can't even afford rent. And what are they doing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so we're just sitting here, kind of going back to the Great Depression. It's terrible. People around my age and younger, if you didn't buy a house right out of high school, you didn't have a house. You're paying over on rent. How about the people that had families that couldn't afford a house for years because they had a family, and now they're struggling to afford rent? It's just out of hand. We're not helping the American people. We're going against the American people. And it's just really sad to see. It's super sad to see. We can go and we can send $135 billion to Ukraine, but we can't fix Maui. Why not? We can't help people. We can't put that money back into our communities. The amount of spending since COVID has been outrageous. It's reduced our dollar. Our dollar value has decreased 17 cents. That's outlandish. And if you can't see what's going on, I'm not mad at you. I ask you to look and just think for a bit about what's going on. It's not right versus left. It's not black versus white. It's not neighbor against neighbor. It's the American people versus the government and holding them accountable. We need people in there that actually care about us, that actually want the American people to succeed and not to take us to war. We don't need to go to war. It's been so crazy to watch because, politically wise, the left used to be anti-war and the right used to be pro-war. And now it's flopped. And now the left is pro and the right is anti. And why is that? Ask yourself, what exactly is going on here? Well, it's the military-industrial complex. We, have people that have those contracts and they rely on us providing military need. It goes back to everything. It goes back to the elite and the government officials and BlackRock and Vanguard having a stake in everything. They profit off of war. They profit off of COVID. They profit off of bad food that are hurting people, so they have to go to the doctor. They make money off of the companies that are selling the bad food, and then they make money again off of the doctors that prescribe them medicine instead of just, instead of trying to be healthier. And it's hard because almost every fast food restaurant Most food, on average, I believe it was 50,000 per grocery store, 50,000 food items are non-beneficial. And so you look at that, the amount of food that actually is good for you is so small. It's not very big. And then you have the American people that are broke because the economy's in the dump. Our dollar isn't worth shit. When McDonald's is selling dollar breakfast sandwiches every day, $2 double cheeseburgers, free fries if you have the McDonald's app, well, why don't we just go there? It's the only thing we can afford. It's absolutely crazy. And all these companies, they have stock and they're on the exchange. And these top tier companies own them. They profit off of it. They profit off everything. That's why they buy up the houses. That's why they sell the houses up top. And that's why they wait for a recession to happen and a housing crisis where it drops. And they buy right back in from the poor soul that bought it from them because they thought the house price wouldn't stop. There's a quote. You will own nothing and be happy. And they're doing that very well. That's why the average car price is around 40 to 50,000. It's why the average house is 480,000. Nobody, no, not nobody, but the average person in this country can't afford that. Well, come to the city, they say. Better opportunity, right? Sure. You might make $25 flipping burgers here. But that $25 an hour? You might make $50,000 a year. You're not going to find a house. Even the trailer houses. You have lot rent that are going up. $700 a month is the average of where I'm at, what I'm seeing. Property tax for the people that already owned their homes getting so high because of people and companies buying these houses above price to where the people that are native to where they lived, born here, better term, they can't even afford to live here because the property tax is getting so high. Better opportunity. Might be better opportunity, but they're making it to where you can't afford anything. And that right there is why they are not for the American people. They're not helping us. They say they are. Oh, we're going to do this and we're going to pass this bill. Pay attention to this page and this right here, but don't pay attention to the other 300 pages where we're wasting billions of dollars. How do you accidentally send $6 billion to Ukraine, but not send that much money down to just rebuild Maui? And I guess that is where I'm going to leave this and let you think about this. And I really appreciate you listening in. I'll try to do this every week. And you have a great night, a great day, great weekend, whatever it is. And thank you for tuning in.